Hello, it's me, Trey. Thank you for watching me today as I keep my mental, spiritual, and physical health from going astray. This video, obviously from the title, is Family Ties, and this is in the spirit of Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, all the holidays that I once held dear. I still hold dear to them, but once really held dear because I had a family. If you know me, I'm originally from Newark, New Jersey. Grew up in Newark. I went to school originally in Nutley, New Jersey, at a private school, a Christian private school. It was great. It was fun since the age of, I think 4 or the grade of K4 up to 8th grade. Great, right? If you know me, you know the school. I'm not going to say the school because I'm not being sponsored by the school, so I don't want to give them any clout. But I grew up there for a good portion of my early life, early middle school, like toddler life, if you will. But I just want to caveat by saying that at the age of 10 in 5th grade, I believe, I was told by my then parent that I was adopted, which I am, which is true. And it was really crazy because I thought I was part of this family, you know, which I was, right? And I want you to remember this one piece that I thought I was a part of this family dynamic. And this is why I'm making this video. But I digress. I was a part of this family dynamic that was, you know, authentic from the start and whatever. And it was essentially, but it wasn't, if you will, right? Prior to being told this information, my adopted dad, now knowing that was my adopted dad, died a year prior. So I guess this might have prompted my adopted mother to say something to me and my adopted brother. So being that was what it was, you know, I was like, oh wow, that's crazy, you know, thinking about that and my parent. I tried to ask about, you know, questions about my parent, my real parent, and my adopted mother was just basically saying that my mother was a drug addict. We don't know anything about my father, basically just going run around. You know, the basic black kids story in Newark, or even in the hood, if you will. So I say that to say, you know, a quick synopsis going down the road. My adopted mother then has a stroke in 2015, her first stroke actually. And that was crazy because it was around Mother's Day, or April to be exact. And I did tell her to go to the doctor. She didn't, but that's neither here nor there. This is one of the main reasons why I am taking my health serious, because health is wealth. But anyway, that's one of the events that had happened, which led really toward my depression for a couple of years, you know, after that, which was like 2015, 2016, and 2017, right? So after that, my family struggled financially. I attended Newark Tech, where, if you've been in Newark Tech, like, it was a really good school, right? Don't get me wrong, but like with any high school, there's cliques and everything and all that other shit. So for me, I'm definitely a person who stands alone, regardless of where I'm at. I stand out. So it was kind of difficult for me to make friends off, rip going on there. So I just, did my best to stay focused and eventually made friends and was really kind of accepted by certain people, which is great, by like junior year and senior year, right? So once that happened, this is where I realized that I could stand on my own essentially. As a senior, I had my car fully paid for by my adopted mother, and I was working. So at that time in 2018, 2017, or in high school at all, if you had your own car and you were working, like, that was amazing, right? So that was really good for me. And I'd already did early decision to Muhlenberg College, where I had went to school, which is great. So everything was set up for me senior year, essentially, which is I'm really blessed in that manner, because that was amazing. So I did that, and I went on to college at the end, or quarter end, if you will, of 2018, or almost goes to the quarter end of 2018, if you will, and started my journey at Muhlenberg College. Now, this is where I realized that my family was really not my family, right? A pink toe moment, if you will, per TikTok. And the reason why I, realized that was when I first asked my adopted parent, who we were still struggling financially. That's why I had my college basically paid for $1,000, right? And when you go through certain things, right, you're disabled, and I can't speak for everyone, but from what I experienced, because I was closely connected to someone who was disabled because of a stroke, they were given money through this SSI, or because they were disabled, they would give it money because they couldn't work. And I was just asking for $1,000, toward my tuition. And I thought we had that, and we did, but it was my adopted parents' indignation and unwillingness to give me that money. Mind you, right, the year prior to that, in 2018, they were also unwilling to fill out the FAFSA for me to even go to college. I really forgot that, right? It really started in 2018, right? And then continued into freshman year. So I needed their information, right, to go and apply and get the necessary funding, if you will, to fund my college career, because we didn't have any money. So I needed that. So especially being where we were and being where I'm from, we didn't have any money, So I got the most money out of that, and I was grateful to even go through that, right? Or even have her there to even do that information. I finally got her to put in her information needed for the FAFSA. And then a year later, we have this debacle about, needing $1,000. I eventually got the $1,000 to cover my tuition that I needed, and life moves on, right? So that's the first pink tote moment. What else happened after that? I think after that we had COVID, right? And this is also a time that just bolstered my thinking of this person, and this person's family does not have my back. I had moved from a friend's house that I was staying at during the early months of COVID and moved down to Florida, right? This was at the beginning of the Black Lives Matter movement, right? That was happening in Atlanta and all over the world, really. So I was kind of nervous to go travel from New Jersey down to Florida by myself. I did it anyway, which thank God I got there safely, right? And when I got there, I started my internship at the Federal Reserve Bank of New York, which is great. Love that. But during that time, I was under that person's, house rules. And being that I was a 20-year-old, eventually turning 21 during my time there, it was kind of hard, being that I was gay. And I had recently rededicated my life to Christ. I am not a Christian at all at this point. I just want to preface this by saying, but at that time I was. And it was really hard struggling with being gay and being Christian and under that person's household, right? And some of you may be asking, oh, well, why is that hard? Well, the person didn't like me being gay, and I didn't accept myself or trying to change myself for that person. So it was a constant clash of ideas, and just everything, just living with each other was just really bad. So during that time, I was under a lot of pressure and stress. And there was one time, if you will, a pink tote moment number 2, where my adopted parent had asked, about my sexual proclivities, if you will, or my sexual activities that I was engaging in as an adult. And coming from being totally free in college to being under somebody's roof, I would never encourage it. If you have to, and you really like your parent, really do that. I would never encourage it. Because this person would make me think about, why you all up in my business, right? Asked me a really personal question about my sexual health, right? And we were never on that type of timing, if you will. Never on that type of timing about what I was doing with my sexual health or whatever. And I keep up with my sexual health. But you're asking about if I have X, Y, and Z, right? A certain type of, sexually transmitted disease or something. And no, I don't. But you just even asking me that, and it's not even just trying to be serious and trying to be all up in my business is a problem, right? And this is not the first time that has happened, though. I just want to mention this. This also happened senior year of high school, right? When I was like outside, if you will, and free. Because also, senior year of high school, I had a car again, and I had a job, and I was going to school, and college was basically done, right? After I got my parents to fill out the FAFSA and did early decision, I was basically done, right? And had everything set up. So fast forward to where we are at this present moment in the story, that really turned me off again to the type of relationship I had with this person or wanted to with this person. Speaking of family ties, like this person was very kind of maniacal, if you will, in what they did and how they went about, I guess, dealing with me because of my sexuality. Right, that was a big thing because they were Christian and all that other stuff, right? So that's Pink Taupe Part 2, right? Pink Taupe Part 3, and in terms of family ties, this is a whole year later. So after I went through that time in 2020 and 2021, like a majority of 2021, living under their roof, I then decided to go back to campus at Muhlenberg and, what's it called? And live in the dorms. And that's when I was really free again, which was amazing. The winter of 2021, I felt really great. I was, by myself, lonely, right? And kind of going through depression, right? But working through that. But also I felt free because I wasn't under that person's roof, right? So I went through my junior year of college, which was great, at Muhlenberg, working, having internships, doing what I had to do to get myself together for senior year. And I went back to visit this person, right? I was a little hesitant to visit this person because of the experience I had previously had in Florida, Orlando to be exact, Memorial Drive. I was like, let me just go because, that person wants to see me. That's my family, blase, blase. I went down there and I was planning to tell this person how I felt. Now, if you know me, I end up telling you how I feel, whether that be platonic, sexual, romantic. I'm going to end up telling you how I feel if I care about you, right? And that's if I care about you. Like, if I want you to go with me in the future, if I see that this could be long term or like some type of benefit from this relationship, and I want us to continue to grow, I see that in my future, or I can foresee it, I will definitely try to cultivate that type of relationship, right? So I tried to do that with my adopted parent a year later after we had gone through this whole thing of me living under their roof and going through all this other trouble. That I was like, listen, there was a time in which you didn't defend me when I was in school. Growing up in a Christian household, in a Christian private school, I wasn't allowed to be my true self. You can see my nails right now. This is considered feminine. I couldn't be my feminine self in that house, at that school. I would be called a girl. Now I realize I don't care. I don't give a fuck because I don't. But back then I couldn't do that. And there was a timing in which somebody, I don't know who told her this. This is verbatim. You were acting. She pulled me aside, right? Before I say this, she pulled me aside. She was working at the school too, which was another problem. Working at the school with your parent in a Christian school where you couldn't be yourself, that's too much. But like, she pulled me aside and was like, someone pulled me aside as the parent and was like, you were acting like a girl. And I said, okay, for one, someone pulls you aside, cool, whatever, blase, blase. You didn't defend me in that moment. That is Pink Taupe number 3. This happened as like a 12-year-old, right? I didn't know that was my biggest op as a 12-year-old. And I just sat there and I was like, you didn't say anything. Instead, you came and berated me. I don't care if that was out of love or nothing. When you're talking to me about relationship and about connection and you don't have my back when I'm not there, that is op behavior. Hands down. So you're an op. That's Pink Taupe number 3, right? So I told her about this, and she was like, well, basically, I don't regret anything I did, because of my faith, blase, blase. I checked it up to Jesus, not the Most High. And yeah, we left it there. This was at Red Lobster. I remember myself clearly getting up and crying in the bathroom of Red Lobster. So I don't know what to do after that, right? So this is 2021. I end up like going back home, glad I got, over that time. And I remember it so clearly because I remember listening to Abandoned by Trippie Redd and Mariah the Scientist. That was one of the first times I heard Mariah the Scientist and her music in 2021. An amazing artist. I think y'all should go and listen to her if you don't already. But either way, I remember that. And Abandoned really stuck with me. I was like, damn, that's a really good song, yeah. And I listened to it to Florida and from Florida because I did feel abandoned. So, yeah. Oh, I just want to say I kind of talk fast, so I apologize. I will be slowing that down. But either way, continue with the story. What was it? Pink Tote number 4, right, is senior year, which is 2022. If you know me and if you were next to me in 2022, you know I graduated a semester early, thank God, from the accounting program that I was in at Muhlenberg. And yeah, I started working right off the bat. And I first had the idea of not going to graduation, but I ended up going to graduation. Well, not end up going to graduation. I ended up wanting to go to graduation in May of 2022. Set it up where I invited everyone, I guess, that I knew that were secretly not my family or secretly did not have my back, right? Which I then found out like a few months later. But I bring this full back over here. I found out that, but I invited those people to my graduation, right? And graduation was coming up and whatever, I was still working. And the day before graduation, I caught COVID. So I couldn't go to graduation. I didn't want to go to graduation because I wasn't feeling well. And I wasn't really in the right state of mind, right? So I, didn't go to graduation. It was definitely distraught. And, I definitely think about that because that was crazy. But after that, I had to really sit with myself because I was depressed after that and just really realizing, what is going on here? I was having really good times, but also going into those depressive states, right? With those, moments that were supposed to be mine, that was supposed to be high in morale, right? And this not going to my graduation was the tip of the iceberg because I really finished my college career early, wanted to celebrate. And I want to understand why. I come to find out, right, moving on with the story, I started getting to spirituality, right, and understanding ancestors. I'm still trying to understand ancestors and ancestral veneration and things of that nature, and still understanding that and on the path of that, of enlightenment, right, how that works in tandem with Christian religion, right. And I'm realizing, and I got a reading on multiple occasions about this, and one thing that came up was my adoptive parent, right? Was the fact that this person really did not have my back, was essentially starting spiritual warfare with me underneath my nose and not even know it. And I should have known that because they were not comfortable with my sexuality, but I didn't think about it because I'm like, this person cannot be starting shit with me just because of my sexuality, and that is the reason. So this video in the aggregate, if you will, is explaining how your family, even your adopted family who is supposed to love you in place of your real family, can still be your op. That's my lesson number 1. Number 2 is the fact that, you can be the most authentic part of yourself and people cannot like you or not want a relationship with you, right? Which is really coming off of number 1. Number 3 is the fact that, fuck it. If they don't want to, they don't want to, because I still made it. I still here by myself, so, I still made it. But I wanted to come on here and share this story, and I'll probably get into a little more story times about how this came up and what I'm doing about it now to fix it. Those things, and other people that I found out were doing the fuck shit behind my back. But yeah. I know this is kind of scattered in certain ways, but the main purpose of this video is to shed light on family ties and how family ties are really not always the best, right? Are not always tight as tightly as we think they are, or as I thought they were for me, right? It takes a lot of digging and a lot of uncovering and really sitting with yourself and understanding, okay, why do I feel this way right now about this person? Why does this person not want to grow with me, right? Not want to work on a relationship, right? Both ways. And like, it's because of that, like spiritually, right? And I'm also learning a lot of what happens here with family can be a spiritual thing and is a spiritual thing and boils down to a spiritual principle, whether it be with them or just with me or just in tandem with each other. It's a spiritual thing. So yeah, I hope you understand that you're not alone this holiday. I too am spending Thanksgiving and Christmas alone, which is sounds very sad, but I'm going to learn to, enjoy it. But yeah, grow with me.